So I just got done watching. I've seen it before, but I just rewatched it again because one of the guys in my group sent this out, and I was like, oh, wow, this is great. But it's Yuri Bezmenov. If you don't know who Yuri Bezmenov is, and I'll give you the link to this, what's it called? It's from Persian Atheist, KGB defector Yuri Bezmenov's Warning to America. It's from 8 years ago. It's got 2 million views. Yuri Bezmenov talks about what had happened and what they were doing, what the KGB was doing to subvert, not use espionage. He was saying espionage was only 15% of the KGB's program. He said the other 85% was meant to subvert American culture. And they isolated 2 specific locations, the entertainment industry and the universities. Lenin said this: give me your children for 4 years and I will sow seeds that could never be uprooted. Talking about communism here. I draw the connection here in my book. In Purging Feminism, I talk about the education system pretty deeply in this book. And I describe and I use that exact, what's it called? That exact phrase. I wonder if it's in my not teaching philosophy. What's it called? I'm going to look. We got time. We got time. Yep, this is where it's at. Not teaching philosophy is where I discuss it in my book. Page 114. So I talk about this. I say, you know, I want you guys to remember back to the time you were 18 years old, how idealistic you were, how invincible you felt you were. Yeah, there you go. And I like where you're going with it. How ideological you were, how invincible you thought you were, how much you thought you knew everything, and how much you wanted to change the world, how much of an impact you wanted to have on the world. You see, when a individual is between the ages of 18 and 22, that's when they're looking the most to isolate and find what their identity is. And that's why sending your children to, and I can't say children, so sending your young adult now at 18 to 22 to these universities that are now especially that are 100% Marxist indoctrination camps, utilizing feminism and postmodernism as their weapons. What you're doing now is you're sowing seeds that can never be uprooted. I further draw a deeper conclusion because what I understand now through being a salesman is this. There's a fallacy. It's called the foot in the door fallacy, right? If someone invests a little into something, they're more than likely going to reinvest again, right? It's called doubling down, right? So, all right, maybe it didn't work to start off with, but maybe if I just invest a little bit more, it'll work this time and I'll get paid off more and all this other stuff. Or, you know, with timeshare, for instance, when someone bought a timeshare and they saw that it worked and it worked out well for them, we would call them back and we'd invite them back to our exclusive package program. And they're more likely to buy in this program because they're like, oh, this works great. We just want more time. We want to go to better locations. All right, perfect. Here you go. Sign this contract for this one. All right, cool. Let's do it. The pain's already over. Now, what I talk about here is this, and this is the most demonic part of this, is when you take someone who is that strong-headed at that point in time, and you teach them to become an activist, that they need to change the world, and then you give them an identity, then you layer on top of the fact that they just went into debt for $100,000, $150,000, $200,000. Do you think that person is ever going to change their mind and say, oh, shoot, I was wrong. I was wrong about this? Think about that. The ultimate foot in the door fallacy. That ideology is now ingrained even deeper. It's dug in worse than a tick. Because there's no way in hell, especially women who can't apologize, who cannot say that they were wrong, right? Kevin Samuels talks about this, and there's something I want to talk about too when it comes to him. He had a tremendous show on Monday. I got to go over this. It's insane. And it's perfect when it comes to talking about modern women today. But anyway, he said women use, and I talk about this, I believe, in my first book, Live Your Best Life in 30 Days. I talk about what the scarcity mindset, what the victimhood mindset, which is essentially these people, right? These Marxists, they don't believe in anything constructive. They don't have a constructive philosophy. Everything that they do is deconstructive. So it's always going to have to come from an oppressor out there versus the oppressee. I'm the victim. I'm the oppressee. I'm being oppressed by the system. So they can only deconstruct. It's always going to be a victim mindset. And whenever someone wants to hold power, especially in a victim state, they're going to lob shame, insults, guilt, and the need to be right. That's his version of it. I say guilt, fear, and shame. Those are the three things that you'll see from every type of dualistic philosophy. Shame, guilt, and fear are their controlling mechanisms. But he goes deeper, especially when talking about women. He says shame, guilt, insults, and the need to be right. He's got that perfectly. Because what we see from women today, these modern women, is they must always be right. And this is what's wrong with most of them, is they go to these schools, they get a degree that tell them that they're smart, then they go to a follow-on education, which means that they're a master's or a PhD, which further digs in this fucking belief system that they are the elite when it comes to what's inside here. They know better. But what makes it worse is the fact that they've now gone into debt $200,000. And there's no way now that they could ever say this system, this program, this ideology that I just went through and spent $200,000 on was wrong. It was the wrong choice. I was wrong. I was wrong. So what do? They instead double down on the ideology. Oh, it's the patriarchy. It's the patriarchy. That's just the patriarchy. Oh, you're just misogynists. I'm not wrong. You're wrong. Oh, yeah? Why are you so unhappy? Why is it that you have to put down 2 bottles of wine a night? Why is it that you have to take Xanax? Why is it that you have to take, what's it called? Ambien to get to sleep. It's because there's something going on inside you that knows the truth. Your soul knows that you are off the mark. I talked about this before, sin. What does the word sin mean? The sin means to be off the mark. That's all it means. And your soul knows when you're off the mark. You could feel it. It reverberates through you. It's the thing that causes anxiety and depression. It's the thing that makes you stress out about the future and dwell on the past. I bring all this up, guys, because the fact of the matter is this. Yuri Bezmenov talks about it in his deal. I've read numerous books about this. When someone is that dug into an ideology, when they're that dug into this specific ideology, there's no saving them. There's no saving them. There's no amount of reason. There's no amount of rationality. There's no amount of compassion or, hey, let's just have them hear it out. Let's see how things go. It's over. Once you go down that road of investing in the duality of oppressor versus oppressee, right? The deconstruction model of philosophy. You can't look at things in a constructive way. Whenever your source of value comes from external validation and an external locus of control, it's going to take something. It's going to take something deeply profound and painful